call yourself a data analyst. And this week, we are going to be moving into the data science learning track. We are going to be learning the concept of machine learning the concept of data science. And while we're doing this, we are going to be learning the particular programming language that we're going to be using for these two things, the data science and machine learning, which is Python programming. I have my awesome facilitator who is going to be taking us through, who is going to be um, taking our hand, walking us through the data science and machine learning, doing this with Python. But before I do that, let me quickly show us how this journey has begun. So these are aside from Cohort 2, like you all know, we have three modes of delivery for this program. Yes, so we're running the physical centers, and then we're also running the virtual sessions, and we also have the self-paced learning for those who are quite busy and may not be available to attend physically across our hosting centers, and who are also not opportune to join virtually. So we have three modes of delivery, so you can always at any point pick which one works best for you. So those are pictures from our physical hosting centers last week. Yeah, this is Skills Academy in Oyo Ibadan. This is Ade Farm in Osogbo. This is Ade Farm in Osogbo, and this is ICRN in Plateau. So this week also we have 8 physical hosting centers across the country, from the southwest to the southeast and to the north. So should in case you want to attend physically, we sent a mail to everyone with the available physical hosting center. So you can always dial in physically at your convenience or join the live Zoom session. So these are more pictures from cohort 1. So we started with the cohort 1, moved to the cohort 2, and now it's cohort 3. Welcome, welcome once again, everyone. So very quickly, I'll be telling us about DSN. For those that are just joining for the very first time, because like I said, we just completed the data analytics track and we are moving to the data science. So some people are just joining us for the very first time, and we're happy to have you. So in the next few minutes before I bring on the facilitator who is going to be taking us through another learning journey, yes, so I'll be telling us about DSN. At DSN, we have the commitment to raise 1 million AI talents and to build AI solutions that improve the quality of life and well-being of 2 billion people in the emerging market. And DSN thrives on quite a number of things. We have the partnership, we have community, we build products. And I'll be walking you through, I'll be giving you a brief overview of the DSN community. So DSN has been the leader in artificial intelligence, knowledge democratization. We built up, we are the foremost learning and research ecosystem in Africa. You can see this is our global footprint. We have DSM Platform, we have DSM Nigeria, we have DSM Morocco. You would have been hearing something like Data Scientist Network. You will be hearing something like DSM AI, and then you'll be hearing something like Data Science Nigeria instead. And be wondering, what are all these things? So Data Scientist Network caters for all our engagement outside Nigeria, I mean outside the four walls of Nigeria. So Data Scientist Network caters for all our community outside Nigeria. Why DSN AI speaks to the product that we built at DSN. And the Data Science Nigeria is everything that we do inside the country Nigeria. You can see we have our footprint in Ethiopia, Kenya. We've expanded. Yeah, so some of us would have seen a video that I just played now. So this is the book written by our founder, Dr. Bayo Lukambi, because there's a need for us to include everybody in this emerging world of AI. So this is a book created for kids. It's for grade 4 to 8 to catch them young, to help them also get to know more about AI. So my colleagues will be dropping the link to get this book. It's something you can get for your children, it's something you can get for your sibling. My colleague will be dropping the link to get this book in the chat. Yes, and we also have the DSN ladies in there. Like I told you, for us at DSN, it's about inclusion. Yeah, there's a need for us to make sure that each walk of life, I mean, every segment in the walk of life is introduced to AI. So we have the DSN ladies in AI that caters for our females. So we have a dedicated community for them. My colleague will be dropping the link to the chat for our females to join this community, because this is where you get to learn with your home people. Yeah, I'll say with your home people, because learning is actually very fast. And when you see somebody that is actually like you, it also makes it very easy to do. So this is one of the sessions that we have last year at DSN. So this is a design thinking of machine learning for ladies in AI community. And then we launched a program last year called the Harewa Ladies for Tech. This is a project that we have in partnership with Google that we're currently running in the Kaduna State. Like I told you, DSN thrives on a quite number of things. We have the community, we have partnership, we have products. So when it comes to partnership, we are very, very keen. We are very heavy on partnership, and this is a project we are running with Google in the Kaduna State. It's currently running at 4 dedicated hubs in Kaduna State. Yeah, so this is a picture with the Minister of Digital Economy, Dr. Bosunti Jani. So this is our representative, and this is still on the project. This is still on the partnership project with Google .org. Yes, so in collaboration with Microsoft, we organize the free classes in every city. Yeah, and this is pictures from the last year actually, and it's also the same program we are running currently. So this is a project that's sponsored by Microsoft that we are running. I'm very sure you would have seen on the campaign flyers, you would have seen DSN partner with Microsoft to deliver the free classes in every city. So these are pictures from the last year, just like we are also here today to learn the Python for data science and machine learning. So this is a program under Microsoft. So there will be a time for you to share your learning experience. We are going to be giving you a detailed tags and companies that you can always put in your post. Yeah, that you can always put in your post to appreciate, because this is not something we only do at this. Make sure that we appreciate all the sponsors. So these are more pictures from the last year free classes in every city. These are pictures from Ogun State and in the north. Yeah, so DSM participated in the Deep Learning Daba Conference, the biggest annual AI conference in Africa. This happens in Ghana. Like I told you, we're very heavy on community, we're very heavy on partnership, and we're very heavy on building products. Those are our community members. At the last year Deep Learning Daba Conference, which held in Ghana, and yeah, like I told you, we've expanded into the nooks and crannies of Africa. So we have a francophone community that caters for all our engagement in the francophone countries. This is a program that ran last year where we organize a bespoke training for the francophone community. This is one of our this is one of our big community in the francophone community called the DSM Marathi. Is it Niger or Niger now? Yes. So a they ran their first event, massive participation event last year. This is DSM Marathi in Niger. So this is one of our francophone community. You can see pictures which shows how evident that we're actually very keen. We're actually very interested in building our francophone communities. Last year, we also hosted the 8-week masterclass for educators. So the masterclass is a bespoke one. Like I told you, we have different segments in the community. We have the kids and teens community. We have the DSN ladies there, which caters for the females. We have the community for undergraduates and the graduates. And we have communities for professionals. So when we are talking about professionals, we are talking about educators, we are talking about all professionals. So this is a program that we organized for our educators as it was a very intensive one, which ran for 8 weeks. And I'm even excited to tell you that this similar project is running already this year. Yes, last week, yes, so that was 2 weeks ago, we started data analysis for educators, where we are teaching them how to use Microsoft Excel to optimize their delivery in classes. I'll be sharing more flyers. I'll be sharing more about this particular program that we're running for the educators soon. Yeah, so these are snapshots from their learnings from their generative AI masterclass. So last year it was generative AI masterclass, while this year it is data analysis for the educators. And like I told you, we're very, very keen on partnership. This is a project we had in Plateau State last year where we trained over 200 youths on job readiness skill. We introduced them to Python for data science and machine learning and app development with Microsoft Power Apps. This is a project we had in partnership with Nido America. Yeah, the Nigerian diaspora. Yeah, so some of us would have been on the DSN Telegram group already. This is our dedicated group. I mean, dedicated channel which we use to communicate to our members. We have over 30,000 people on this Telegram group right now. And one of the things that we use to engage our community members on the group is the DSN Telegram Hour. We run activities to make sure that everybody is learning when we engage our community members to know what is actually happening, to know the emerging trends in the world of AI. So if you are not on the Telegram group here, we are going to be sharing the link to join the Telegram group. I will highly encourage you, I will advise you to join the Telegram group once the link is dropped by my colleague. DSN organized its annual fully funded AI bootcamp, uniting exceptional talent for an immersive experience. The DSN AI Bootcamp is an annual program that we do at DSN where we bring the best of the best. Yes, we bring the best of the best, and I'm even more excited to tell you that you are in the right place because the DSN AI Bootcamp is a journey. Yes, we usually call it a journey. It starts from the DSN free AI classes in every city. From the DSA Free Class University, we moved to the 50 days pre-bootcamp learning, and then we move into the hackathons for the AI bootcamp qualification. So if you are here today, you can count yourself very lucky because you have the chance of attending this year AI bootcamp. So DSN AI bootcamp is an annual program where we bring the best of the best. We accommodate them physically when we teach them we teach them the heart of AI. These are more pictures. So these are pictures from last year. We brought in 30 speakers who spoke during the AI. You can see on the right side of my screen, you can see the list of the speakers that we have there. We have people from outside Nigeria and we have people in Nigeria also. It's always a great time I guess whenever we are doing our AI because um we expose people to what is really happening in the world of AI. And like I told you, it's an all expense paid, which means you are not going to be paying a dime for you to attend. It's an all expense paid program. And these are more pictures from the last year here bootcamp. We have an award for what we call the Mr. Algorithm and Miss Algorithm. We also have an award for the Best Booster Award. So very quickly, I'll be talking about the DSN Global Impact and recognitions. And last year, we won the 2023 Heart of Technology Excellence Award in the category of AI and ML. It was a fascinating moment last year when we won this award because the category was a very tight one and DSN came at the top. Yes, it was a great one for us last year, and I'm also excited to tell you that while we are very keen on community, we are very keen on building products, we are very keen on a partnership, we are very, very interested in doing research. I mean, when we build products that we build are actually the consequence of our research works. So DSN has been mentioned 40,500 because this is even a quote from 2 years ago actually, and so you will agree with me that the number would have probably tripled by now. So this was a mention um on a research paper called the www on a website called the www.academia.edu. So DSN has been mentioned over 14,500 times. The number would have grown by now. So this is our engagement last year at the DSN Indaba X Nigeria. So Indaba X is the localized Indaba. Yeah, so this happened at the Thomas Adeomi University, Kwara State last year, where we had our researchers, our research interns, and our research staff physically present at the venue. And these are more pictures from the Deep Learning Lab which held in Ghana, where we hosted our first geospatial AI workshop. It was another exciting moment to showcase what we are doing at DSN. Yeah, so I told you we're very keen on partnership. This is a picture with the Lithuania team. They support us yearly on internship placement for our ladies. Yeah, you can say the internship placement of Book.org are our ladies for 10 So this is the picture when they came last year into Nigeria to visit us at the DSN AI Hub. And We know that to build AI is not easy and there is a lot that goes around, I mean, at the back end. So we ran a program last year to talk about responsible AI. This is a project we did in partnership with Microsoft. We discussed extensively on how to build a responsible AI, how to build responsible models, how to avoid bias, how to avoid confusion in the models that we are churning out. And this is another partnership engagement. We met her, which ran at three different countries: Senegal, Kenya, and Nigeria. It's a work what we did on geospatial AI. And yeah, like I told you, we have product that we built. We have spot on for geospatial, we have Marco Tutor for EduTech, and we have the right prescribed for the healthcare. And this is also another product that we build called the data fluency. It helps you to know how your data is being managed. It helps you to understand how your data is being managed. And yeah, we have a dedicated AI research lab in Yaba. If you have joined this earlier, if you have joined this session earlier, you would have seen a video where we showcase the DSN AI Hub, which is located at number 33 Queen Street, Alagomeji, Yaba. You can always come around to visit us, and I'm also excited to inform you that these we have training facilities which can also be used as event center. So should in case you want to host an event and you need a dedicated event center that will give you the look and feel of what you want to do, you can always reach out to us to know more about our training facilities at DSN. So, yes, community is a very key part of DSN, and we run events all through the year. I'm repeating this: we run events all through the year, and currently you will see where we have the 4 here with free classes. You will see July, August, which means that this is what we are currently doing. Earlier this year, we have the AI everyday where some people benefited, where we took them through the data analytics with Power BI and Python for data science and machine learning. And people even got certified. People even got certified. So we run events all through the year just to make sure that the community is active and our community members are getting the best of the best out there. We upskill, we run webinars, we run various events for our community members. And like I told you, we have the here kids, we have the francophone community. The community is very vast, and we make sure that we keep everybody um everybody learning. So you can see the link to the annual calendar. So you can do well to copy this link down and get to know what we are doing at every instance of time. Or you can just scan this QR code. I'm going to be leaving this for 10 seconds so that we can all scan this QR code so that you can be aware of, oh, what is TSN doing at this point. You can quickly check your calendar and get to know what we are doing. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure having you here um for for it. This is 11:26 already, and I want to believe that you are very ready. You are very ready for this session now, and I'll be bringing in the facilitator. Like I told you, I have my also facilitator on the call already in person of Ewezu Ngingim. Ewezu is currently an intern at DSN, a data scientist intern at DSN, and he's going to be walking us through the Python for data science and machine. Is going to be exposing us to what exactly is artificial intelligence. So this particular learning track is for all of us that are interested in doing AI research, that are interested in understanding what exactly is machine learning, how do I build algorithm, or you can, so we'll start with learning Python programming before we move into machine learning proper. So it's going to be a very busy week. Yes, let me use the word busy because there's a lot for you to catch up on, and I'm very sure my facilitator will do justice to this. So, if you have any question, you can always engage in the chat. We have dedicated support in the chat to help us out. And this particular session is also being streamed right now on YouTube. Should in case you drop off the call and you're unable to join again because the number is increasing at every instant, and this is 141. I'm very sure before It's 11:45. The class can be filled up already. So should in case you can't join back, you can go to the DSN YouTube channel to continue watching this session. So thank you so much, everyone. And okay, so before we start, I think I should just pick some questions in the chat very quickly. Oh, thank you, Chidima. Chidima has dropped many. She has dropped many links in the chat already to help us out. Please, I can't hear any sound. So that's from Abdul Muiz. So I think that will be from your hand. Please drop the address for the TSN Yaba. Any center available in Uyo, Akwa Ibom? Okay. Is there any certification after the training? So the DSN, yeah, the DSN hub is located at number 33 Alagomeji Green Street, Aba, Lagos. And is there any center available in Uyo, Akwa Ibom? So I'll be dropping the link to the physical hosting centers that we have currently for this learning track. But we've also sent mail to everyone that registered for this program over the weekend. So you can also check your mail, but I'll also drop the link. So as regards certification, yes. So there's a certificate of completion for everybody that participates in this training, and you make it to the head. So after all this, we're going to be having a hackathon for everybody enrolled in this data science and machine learning track. And for those that enrolled for the data analytics with Power BI, you are going to be doing what we call the project participation. More details on this will be communicated as time goes on because it's going to be a very interesting one for everybody. Yeah, so this is 11:30 and this is a very good time to start. I want us to welcome in the chat room with your favorite emojis. Welcome Ewezo as I hand over the microphone to him. Good morning, Ewezo. Please confirm you can hear me loud and clear and you are ready for us.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. So I hope you guys are good. I'm excited to have the session with you all. I look forward to it. Yeah, thank you for the warm greetings. Yeah. So I'll begin to share my screen. Share my screen. Yeah. Right. All right. So can everyone see my screen? Just drop a response in the chat. Okay, you guys can see my screen. Good, 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 good. Yeah, nice. So I like this to be like an interactive session. So when I ask questions, please try to like drop answers in the chat so we can like, we can flow up, yeah. So we're here to discuss about AI and how to use Python to build AI systems. So others, so what do you guys understand by artificial intelligence? Let's start with that. What do you guys understand AI to be? Okay, I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in. So, what do you guys understand AI to mean? Any responses before I go ahead? Yes. All right. So every few years, a new tech term comes out to the mainstream, and people begin to use it with reckless abandon. So a few years ago it was crypto, Web3, DeFi, and this is AI. You know. So it seems like there's this yeah, AI means artificial intelligence. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. But yeah. So there is obsession with people trying to attribute anything that resembles a machine making decisions as AI. So, for example, I don't know if recently Amazon was exposed for doing a thing whereby in their stores they claimed they had AI that saw the goods you were taking and sort of like took note of the price and debited you and stuff. But meanwhile, under the hood, they had actual human beings doing that, you know. So yeah, that's obviously not AI. Another example of where people can be fooled is using like if else statements under the hood system. That's also not AI. Those of you who are familiar with programming should know what if else statements mean. It's like when you tell a machine things to do based on different conditions. That's also not AI, you know. AI is about machines making decisions by themselves. without being necessarily told what to do. So that's what AI is really, yeah. So yeah, someone here says it's simulation of human intelligence in machines. That's good, that's good. Yeah, that's good, yeah. That's good. Yeah, visual perception, speech recognition, and natural language translation. Yes, that's good. All those functions fall under different subfields of AI, you know. So yeah, um, so like AI has like several subfields as I've alluded to. There are two really popular ones: machine learning and deep learning. They're so popular that sometimes people mistake them or rather use them interchangeably with AI itself, you know. So yeah, they're actually different from AI. They're subfields in AI. So for example, machine learning is like a branch of AI that using involves getting machines to make decisions after being fed huge amounts of data. So they are basically told to extract insights from this data and then use that to make decisions. So that's what machine learning is really. Note that in all of this, at no point is a human being explicitly telling the machine what to do. The machine learns what to do by looking at data, you know. And the larger your data set, the more likely the machine is to be good at making good decisions. And then with deep learning, it's similar to machine learning, but in deep learning, in machine learning, what we use to get these insights, to understand the patterns in data are statistical models. But in deep learning, we make use of neural networks. I'm sure you guys have heard of neural networks, at least in passing anyways. So can anyone tell me what they understand by neural network? What do they know a neural network to be? Yeah, Oluwatomi, you can use Visual Studio Code if you want. Yeah, but I love that everyone uses Jupyter Notebook. But you can use Visual Studio Code, that's what you have. Yeah, so does anyone have an idea of what a neural network is? Anyone like to share? Oh yes, Olaniyan says like a brain network. That's good. That's good. Someone says the link between human and machine to communicate. Not quite. Not really. But good attempt. So yeah, good attempts. So a neural network essentially is an imitation of the brain. It's a computer architecture that imitates the structure of our brain. That's what a neural network is. You know, yeah. So as it says here, ML machine learning is a subset of AI that involves study and use of algorithms and statistical models for computer science to perform tasks without human interaction. So as I said, ML makes use of statistical models and algorithms, you know, to make decisions. And without human interaction, that means like here, no human being tells the machine what to do or how to do what it wants it to do. You give it data and you let it to have fun and you let it just have fun with it and figure out the patterns in the data and everything instead of telling it what to do manually. So that's what ML is. Um, yeah, and a lot of tasks can be completed with a data-defined pattern with machine learning. As someone mentioned earlier, you mentioned language translation, image recognition, and other things. Yeah, all those tasks and many more tasks can be completed using data-defined pattern, you know, and applying machine learning on any data. So yeah, so ML is like a huge field. It encompasses several things. So it encompasses engineering, biology. Biology is a bit natural because in AI, AI is a field that is being built with the idea of trying to get machines to be like human beings. So yeah, biology has actually been one of those fields that it borrows from, you know, to form its own body of knowledge. So there's statistics, visualization, economics, database, signal processing. You know, in AI, when we are trying to perform certain tasks like image recognition and voice recognition, make use of signals, you know, these we make use of signals for the machine to learn patterns from. So signal processing is very important. You know, engineering because of the hard, you need to build hardware and software that can handle these particular operations. You know, so yeah, AI is like a very huge field, but the ML is a very huge field. It borrows from different bodies of knowledge. So we can use ML for a couple of things. Spam detection. So when your Google Mail detects spam automatically, it's a result of using ML. That actually falls on a particular type of ML task, which you get to later, either today or later this week, which is called classification. You know, so we have spam detection, identifying credit card fraud, recommending products, and even like, yeah, like any kind of recommender algorithm, like on Netflix, you recommend series, on YouTube, recommend videos based on your watch history and whatnot, yeah, medical diagnosis. So using a database of symptoms and other things, information about your patients to predict if someone has an illness or not. Detecting faces, that's a computer vision task and customer segmentation, and so many other ones. There are so many different tasks that you can perform with AI, so many different tasks, you know. So are we all on the same page? Does everyone understand what I'm saying? Is everyone being carried along? Someone is saying they can't hear me. Is that a general problem or is that from that person's end? Okay, yes, I'm assuming yes means you're following. The notes would probably be made available to you. My colleagues would get across with you to okay, if you guys can hear me, okay, that's good. All right. So yeah, so this is like this diagram here, basically like a pipeline of how we use data for making decisions in like AI and ML. So you need to understand the problem you're trying to solve. So, for example, if you are trying to get AI to recognize a table or an animal or something, you need, yeah, so yeah, you need to, yeah, so you want it to perform image recognition. That's your understanding what you want it to do. You also, from based on that, that informs the data you use. So you want it to recognize images. So the data you use is going to be are going to be images. Yeah, so that's another data understanding. You prepare your data, it's very exhausting. Most people don't like it, but most of the leverage in AI and ML comes from having good data. So preparing data might be exhausting and consuming, but it gives you a lot of value. So we explore our data from exploring. This involves making visualizations and whatnot. Some common libraries use that pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib. I'm sure we'll come to that later in the later sessions. We use that to gain insights by plotting charts and use those charts to make decisions or you explore your data, like not all exploration involves plotting charts. You could just try to like find statistical measures like your mean, median, stuff like that. And you just have to build your model and then evaluate it before you then deploy to production. So yeah, it's really interesting. There's many things that make up the ML pipeline, and we'll get to that during the course of this week, I'm quite sure. So, broadly speaking, there are two types of ML algorithms. You know, we have supervised learning algorithms and we have unsupervised learning algorithms. Okay, so the supervised learning algorithms, they are algorithms that work by okay. So ML, the level of ML is data, yeah. So in supervised learning, in our data sets, we give it what we call features, and we also give it labels. Okay. Yeah. So in supervised learning, we give out our model features and we give you labels. So features essentially are like let me call them variables that describe they could describe a person or a thing. So for example, let's say you want to build a model that determines if you should give someone a loan or not. So a possible feature that you can use to describe that person could be their job, their income, their age, their credit history. You use all those things to describe a person. So the model can, use those things to then make a decision. Yeah. And alongside giving the model those features, you also give it labels. So labels are essentially so in classification, for example, it goes back to my example of determining someone deserves to loan or not. A label would be yes or no, essentially. This person deserves so we have our features and we have our labels. Now labels you have yes to give that person a loan, or no, essentially, So that's what a label is. Do you guys understand, or should I explain that further? Let me know if you need me to explain what labels mean. Please do so as quickly as possible. Okay, Edwin says yes, he understands. Okay, always I should explain. Okay, so as I said, it's supervised learning. We feed our model two things essentially. We feed it features and we feed it labels. So features essentially describe a person. They could also describe a thing. So I use the example of us building a model to determine whether to give a person a loan or not. Yeah, so we have to be able to describe individuals to know whether they are worth giving loans or not. So these things we should describe them are called features. So I give an example of their job, their income, their credit history. You could also include their age, I guess. These different things to describe a particular person or thing. That's what a feature is. While a label is essentially the output of the model. So it's essentially the output of the model. So, for example, let's say we want to train, yeah, using the same example I gave, which is training a model to determine when to give a person a loan or not. As an individual, you as an individual, if a person has a high income, if a person has a good credit history, you are going to be inclined to give them a loan. It makes sense to give them a loan. So, in your data set, in the label section, you are going to put yes, essentially. That'll be your label. That is your label. Your label is essentially what you want the model to predict. Okay, yeah, that's the word exactly. Your label is what you want your model to predict. So if you want your model to predict um a person's whether it's worth giving a person a loan or not, the label in your data set is going to be if that person deserves a loan or not. If your model is predicting someone's age in your data set, your label is going to be the ages of different people in your data set. If your model is predicting what an image is, rather predicting what an image is, yeah, exactly. So, for example, let's say we give you pictures of numbers, we want to predict which number we want it to be able to distinguish between numbers. So the label is if you want to output a number, what number does it think it's looking at based on that image? Your label is going to be the numbers. So I hope that's better understood. Yes, exactly, Kelechi. Labels are outputs, while features are inputs. Exactly. Labels are outputs, while features are inputs. Okay, fine. I want to explain. So, being by variables, I assume you mean features. Yeah, another name for feature, we actually call them yeah, independent variables. That's actually another name for them, independent variables. So yeah, as I said, features describe a person or thing. That's the simplest definition I can give you. Describe a person or thing. While your labels are essentially the output of the model, your outputs, that's what features and labels are. And it's supervised learning. You give your model features and labels. Yeah. So yeah, and in supervised learning, we have two types of problems. We have classification and we have regression. So in regression, that is I want to explain. In regression, your model is predicting a continuous output. So to explain more, what I mean by a continuous output is it predicts numbers that can take any possible value. Yeah. So okay, if you don't, it's be clearer by the time I explain what classification does. So with classification, what you are doing is you are essentially grouping, you are predicting a group. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when training your model, you are going to give it features and the labels. Now, computers they do not understand words. So your labels are going to refer to it as numbers, as discrete numbers. The simplest way I can explain that is discrete numbers are essentially whole numbers. So let's say we have four groups. Our labels could be one, two, three, four, discrete numbers, yeah, or zero, one, two, three, any one of them. But with regression, we could have whole numbers and decimal points and whatnot. So that's what makes something continuous. It's being either a whole number or decimal, essentially more or less. While with discrete numbers, you are talking about like whole numbers. And yeah, so that's the yeah. I hope you guys understand. So I should know for that to go over that again. So that's regression and classification. There are two types of problems under supervised learning. Regression predicts numbers essentially, while classification groups, it predicts a group and represents those groups using discrete numbers. So I hope that's understood. Please guys respond. I hope that's understood. If it's not, I'll go over it one more time. And then we also have unsupervised learning. So now in unsupervised learning, we just give our model features. We don't give it any labels. You know, yeah, they consist of clustering algorithms. So as it says, the target variables are unknown. We don't give them labels. We only give them features. And we tell the model, okay, these are features. Derive the insights yourself. Tell us what you find, you know? So that's what unsupervised learning is about, really. And yeah, so a common unsupervised learning algorithm is clustering. Like it's actually like a whole class of algorithms. We have different types of clustering algorithms. What they essentially do is that they divide our data into different clusters. Cluster is basically like a group. It's basically a group, So what makes that different from classification supervised learning is the fact that in supervised learning for classification, we give our model labels. But in unsupervised learning clustering, we do not give our model labels. You only give it features and tell it to then group you can then tell it to create or discover groups based on the features you have in our data. I hope that's understood. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. So I think everyone understands. So moving on. So we have in data analytics, we have descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. So descriptive analytics, it's essentially, as the word descriptive implies, we're trying to describe something. So what has happened? What is happening? Those are the questions you ask. For predictive analytics, we're trying to do a forecast. We're trying to look into the future, you know, that kind of thing. For prescriptive, we're trying to prefer a solution to a problem. We ask ourselves, what should we do to make this happen? Or what do we do to avoid this happening? You know? So yeah, those are those two types of analytics, Yeah. Um, so I hope you guys understand what AI is, what ML is, what deep learning is, the two broad types of ML problems, unsupervised and supervised, and you understand what both of them means. I hope everyone understands these things thus far. Okay, so yeah, I think everyone understands. Okay, fine, good. With the language that is mostly used, the program language that is mostly used for AI is Python, you know. And to use a programming language, we need what is called an IDE. And the IDE, the popular Python IDE is actually Anaconda. So I hope you guys have installed Anaconda by now. I know one of my colleagues sent the link in the group chat. Okay, someone says they don't understand what ML and deep learning are. Okay, so I'll go over it one more time. So machine learning is a field in AI, yeah, that tries to make decisions by using statistical models. So you give it data and use statistical models to make a decision. That's what machine learning is. But deep learning, instead of using statistical models, we make use of neural networks. And a neural network is basically a computer architecture that is built to imitate the human brain. So they both do the same thing, but they do it using different ways, using different techniques. ML uses statistical models, and deep learning uses neural networks. So that's pretty much it. So I hope that's all that's understood. Yeah, so as I was saying, with regards to the ID, Anaconda is like a popular one. So I hope you've always stuff on Anaconda. In Anaconda, we're going to use Jupyter Notebook specifically. It's very good for running experiments and stuff. So it's good for beginners. So Jupyter Notebook. I hope you guys all have Jupyter Notebook. Another option is also to use Google Colab, and Google Colab records your internet connection, but it gives you certain advantages that Anaconda or that Jupyter doesn't. So for example, Jupyter runs using your own system's computing power, while in Google Colab, you make use of Google of compute that Google provides for you in the cloud. So you can make so yeah, though it doesn't make whatever you do is not restricted to the performance of your laptop. So if you want to build something that's very intensive, you can use more advanced or more powerful computing resources on Google Colab to run your programs. That's the advantage of Google Colab, you know, versus Jupyter Notebook. So yeah. That's essentially it. So I hope you guys have gotten Jupyter Notebook. Can you guys respond in the chats? Okay, someone is asking, is it rural? I don't understand what you mean by rural model in both of them. I don't understand what you mean by that. Can you please clarify so I can answer your question? Okay, everyone's on the same page. Yeah, VS Code will work as well. If you have VS Code, that's fine. That's pretty much fine. Okay, fine, good. Hamama, you can use Google Colab. Okay, yeah, you can use Spider as well, Tunde. But Spider is part of an don't you, Spider is already part of Anaconda now. Your Anaconda should have Jupyter, but it's fine. You could decide to use Spider if you want as well. All right, all right, so good. That's good. Okay, so can you guys please open your Jupyter notebook? Let me do mine. Let me do my Jupyter notebook. When you open Jupyter notebook, it's essentially what it shows you, and you. I hope you guys can see my screen. You come to the right hand side and you click on new to create a new notebook. You click on new, you select Python 3, and that creates a new notebook. So yeah. Yes, Jupyter is a code editor, Gideon. Yes, it is. Well, as for okay, but yeah, so I mean PyCharm and VS Code work as well, but Jupyter Notebook is very good for running experiments. Like most of the data science, before they deploy their models to the deploy them to production, they use Jupyter Notebook because it allows them to form all kinds of experiments and stuff. So Jupyter Notebook is really good. But yeah, the others will also run your code as well. You can follow the same steps in Google Colab as well. Yes, so one of the three, please, Sylvester. You don't need to have all three, just one of the three. You can either use Colab online or get Anaconda and then open Jupyter Notebook in Anaconda. As for Uchechukwu, to use Google Colab, all you simply do is go to your web browser, search Google Colab, search Google Colab, click on the first thing that comes up, You can start to create a new notebook, new notebook. Yeah, so this is what Google Colab looks like. This is where you type in your code to run. Yeah, you can click here to run a cell, or you can click on runtime and then pick if you want to run all, and also yeah. Google Colab works fine as well as I've said a couple of times. Um, yeah. Where is Yeah. Okay. I believe you guys can hear me. All right. So whenever learning a new program language, for some reason, the tradition seems to be to print hello world. So let's go ahead and print hello world. In Python, to print is print, and then you put quotation marks, and you type. So you print hello world, and we run. And hello world has been printed. Congratulations to you. You have written your first code in Python. Congratulations to you, guys. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to teach you guys about variables. I think variables are a very fundamental part of the programming. Where is my? All right. So a variable essentially is a container. It stores information. That's what a variable is. It's a container that stores data. And how do we create a variable? You just give it a name. So I give my variable name A, and I store the value too inside it. So I have created a variable or a container called A that stores the value too. If I were to type print, okay, so now when using your print statement with variables, you don't have to put quotation marks. You just put the variable name there. Unlike here, where we put quotation marks because hello was not a variable. It's what we call a string, but we'll get to that anyways. So this is a variable. You just print and then put the variable name inside, and then you run, and then bam, it prints out the value. So you successfully created our first variable and stored the value too in a variable called A. All right, so hope all on the same page. Is everyone on the same page? Okay, it's open a new notebook in Jupyter. I believe once you open Jupyter, it shows you this. You go over to the right hand side and you click on new, and then under notebook you select Python 3, and then it creates a new notebook for you. So I hope that's settled. Yeah. Um, coming this a second. So another thing we can do is we could create another variable using a value stored in this previous variable. So we could create a variable called b and say b is 2 plus a. We run that. When you print b, you get 4. So this is like another cool thing we can do with variables in Python. We could also just add our two variables. So print a plus b. We run that, and then we have 6 2 plus 4 is 6. So if there is an Jupyter notebook, a shortcut to run yourself is to press shift enter. If you don't want to go all the way here to run, just press shift enter and then you run yourself. All right, that's good. You can also multiply our variables. So in Python, to multiply is asterisk. So you press shift 8 to get to asterisk. So a times b print, you get it. So I hope all on the same page. Yeah. Yes, Uchechuku, collab and Jupyter are two different things. They're two different things. But you can do what we do in Jupyter and collab. So you don't get too worked up about that. All right. So, okay. Okay, so I've basically explained what a variable is. I've shown you how to manipulate variables. Okay, another thing I've got to mention really is that another thing I've got to mention is the fact that you can assign the value of one variable to another. Okay, so for let's say we create a variable c, we can assign it a's value. So c is equal to a, print c. Now note, this is essentially telling our computer to store what is in A in C. Well, it doesn't alter what is in A at all. A remains the same. So if you print your A, you still have the same thing. You could also create a variable by performing an operation on some other variables. So you could create a variable D by adding A, B, and C. Okay, so right, we have A, B, and C. And print D. And we have some here. So that's another thing. All right. So broadly speaking, in Python, I would say, okay, broadly speaking, when it comes to data, we have numerical data and then we have text. Okay. So we call text string. So for example, I want to eat. This is text. This is a string. If I were to run, they can't see my screen. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry, I hope you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? I hope you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? Okay, good. Okay. What was the last thing you saw me do? So I can just quickly go over it again. What was the last thing you guys? Sorry, Mr. Kelvin. Which? Okay, that was the last thing you guys saw me talking about variables. Okay, a plus b. Okay, fine. Okay, good. So I said that some other thing we can do in Python is that we can perform operations on our variables. So we have variables A and B. So we could add them, we can multiply them, we can even perform subtraction. We can perform subtraction. We can perform division. That's under operation. We can perform division. Yeah. And we can even find the modulo, so we can perform a lot of operations, in Python. In Python, modulo is percentage. Yeah. You know. So yeah, that's that. Okay. So yeah. And I also said that we can assign the value of a variable to another variable. So we can create a variable by assigning the value of another variable. So we have variable A already. So we create a variable C by assigning what the value stored in A to C. You print A, we see that it's the same value that is there. We print A is not altered. We're just creating a new variable. I also mentioned that we can create a variable by performing operations on other ones. So here I added A, B, and C and stored that in D. I mean, print D, you have A plus B plus C. Then I was taught the next thing I said was in Python, basically, we've got to like data. We have two general types of data. We have text and we have numbers. Now, text, for I think that's self-explanatory, something like this, or so I want to use text. Now, if you were to run this, you get an error. Yeah. Why? Why would you get an error? Because okay, how Python recognizes text is by you putting that text in quotation marks. Could use a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark. Doesn't really matter, but shall use quotation marks. And then you have your string. And you can assign variables to strings. You can assign rather strings. You, you can store strings in variables also. It's just like we store numbers in variables. Also store strings in variables. So you can create a variable E. Let's print our E. And then you can see, so yeah, just as we could store numbers in variables, we can also store text in variables. And to write text in Python, we have to put text in quotation marks. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Put in quotation marks and initialize it to a variable, you know. Yeah. Now with numbers, we have different types of numbers. We have integers, so any whole number is an integer. One, two, three. Any whole number is an integer, the integers. And then we also have floats or floating point numbers, they are decimals. So I could show you something now. Let me ask it what type is one. You see int, yeah. So type for any whole number gives an int one, two, three. They're all integers. Okay, they're all integers. While for decimal numbers, so 0 0.1, 1.2, whatever, any decimal number, they are all floating point numbers or floats. And the command for knowing what type a particular like data is the type function. You just type and you put the value or variable inside type and then it's tell you, so here floats 0.1 is a floating point number. Yeah. So yeah, Mohammed, yeah, it's like see this concept of floats and integers apply to all programming languages. So yeah, that's one thing they have in common. Okay. So as I also covered type, which tells us a variable's type. Yeah. So for like let's use our variable d, which is a number. Let's see what type it will give us. So print type d. You could put a variable in type, you could put a number in type, whatever really. And then to tell you the type of data. So type D is an int. D is it, so that makes sense. We also had a variable E. Let's see what type to give us. Or that who can guess what type to give us, given that E is a text, given that E contains text. It's going to give us a string because texts are classed as strings, string data. All right. So the next thing, let's go to working with booleans. Yeah. So a boolean is essentially true or false. Like, yeah, that's boolean data, true or false. And the true must be written with capital T and other letters small. If you don't do that, you get an error. As you can see here, name error. True is not defined. So use the boolean true, capital T, the rest are small letters. Same applies to false. You get an error, small f, capital F. You see that the color is different from regular text. And it runs and we are fine. Yeah. So I'm sure we all know what true or false is. These Boolean data types are basically outputs of conditional statements. So conditional statements, we'll get to that eventually, but they essentially check if a particular situation has been met, and then they output true or false based on that. So, for example, let's say we have a variable. Let's say you have a variable A is equals to 2. So let's say is A greater than 10? And then we run that cell to give us a false because it checks the condition A greater than 10. A is not greater than 10. It gives us a Boolean false. Is A greater than 1? True. It gives us true. If you notice, since you are using Jupyter, sometimes when you type in the cell and just run, it prints out an output already. That's one thing about using Jupyter. You don't always have to explicitly write out print, as you might have to in other IDEs like VS Code or Spider. You have to write out print. You know, but in Jupyter, you don't necessarily have to write out print to print out something. So yeah. So that's what booleans are essentially. Okay, so I've dealt with this. So now, a cool thing we can do with strings is that we can sort of combine two strings together. Yeah, we can sort of combine two strings together. So let's say, yeah, we have a string, a reason is a, and we have another string, why, says boy. Okay, that's we create a new variable by adding this string. Okay, so let's print. Let's see. I'm going to write a print because it's Jupyter. But for others who are not using Jupyter, I'll just write print. So print z and okay. It combines the two strings. If you want a space, you're going to have to put the space either in the second string, put space before you write your text, then you have your space, or you put it in the first string after the last thing, and you have your space essentially, you have your space. So you can combine two strings by using the plus sign, you know. Yeah. Or another approach people use is you could do something like this. You could say z is equals x plus inverted comma. Then you put the space in inverted comma plus y and s. So yeah, I think I put space there. That's why it's huge, right? So let me remove that. And then boom, you get the same. These are two different approaches you can use to combine strings. I'm sure you probably wonder what of division can we is there something we can use to divide or multiply strings? And well, yeah, we can do something that sort of looks like multiplication with strings, sort of. So well, I think we can only multiply strings by yeah, so let's do this string variable multiplied by two. And then what happens is that it essentially repeats the string. It repeats the string essentially. That's what it does. So the string is repeated that amount of times if you use multiplication. Yeah. So that's pretty much what that does. We multiplying strings by numbers. That's what happens. Yeah. So all right. So let's do an exercise. So repeat it. Hello. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So there's this really cool thing. So I'm sure as you have probably seen, having to manually input data into variables is a bit limited. For example, if you build an app, for example, if you had only this way of storing information in your variables, how can you get information from your users when you use the app? You'll probably have to get the source code and then manually do these initializations and store their data in variables. But now, this thing I'm about to teach you, make sure that they don't have to do that. It's called the input function essentially. So, and this is how it works. So, we could create a variable, let's call it um, inputs. And inputs, so essentially, we write what data we want from the user. So, let's say, what is or who is your favorite? So, yeah, and then I type it. So in other IDs, this bar doesn't necessarily appear, but in your terminal to give you like a place where you can type and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Let me enter this and then let me create this the variable and then boom. What I imputed is here. What I imputed is here. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So I hope it's clear to everyone. Any issues, any questions? All right. So that's how using the input works. So it also collects. Now there's a really interesting thing. There's a really interesting thing I'm going to show you guys. So, all right. Let's call the variable age. Yeah. So input how let's run this. Okay. Now when we print age, okay. Notice it printed the age in quotation marks. So now what that means is when the value you put, well, like when this input function is used to prompt you to give you information, the value you type in is stored as a string. If you were to check the type of this variable, you see that it's a string. And this can be quite problematic if you want to use this data to perform some kind of mathematical operations, like multiplication between a number or something. So let's say you want to perform, I don't know, let's say 2 times 20 to give you 40, but it has stored that 20 as a string. If we were to perform that multiplication, it's not going to give you what you think what's supposed to give you. So I'm sure you guys will be able to guess that it will end up giving you 21 in two places or something like that. And this is what to give you, you know. So to be able to bypass this, we there's a way, we have ways of getting the data in the data type that we want. So if you want an integer, we put this input function in int. Yeah, put this input function in int. Okay. Um, run this. Okay, yeah. Now, okay, yes, good. So here I put in a floating point number in int, and that gave an error. But that's not what I was even trying to do. But that just shows you that, yeah, it's expecting an int, but you gave it something else. So, mm. So let's say we were trying. Let's say now, so we won't try to put like a text. Um, Apple error, because it's expecting an integer exactly. So you see, this is how we can sort of tell the input function what type of variable we want. Okay, yeah. Okay, the input. Okay, I'll go back to the input function again. Now, you guys have seen the how we create variables is a very manual process. We give a variable a name and then we assign it a value. Yeah. Now, this input function essentially, yeah, how what it does is that we type something in it, okay, that can give a hint to a user of. So as I gave an example, let's say we're booking an app, and we need to collect data from our users. No, we store data as a variable. So if this is really create a variables, which is giving them a name and then manually giving them the value, how do our users give us the information like easily? Would you tell them to, would you give them our code and then tell them to put the value like manually? No, we won't do that. So this input function helps us to solve that kind of problem. How? So you just what the input function does is you need to just write something, to give the user an idea of what function you want from there. So here's the example of high of actually here's the example of a free footballer. Okay. So when you run it, it then gives you a slot. In VS Code or Spider, it's just you know pause and then you type under this prompt, which is who's a free footballer. I just type. But here in Jupyter, it gives like a bar where you can type. So you just come here and type boom, so it has gotten that value from the user. And if you were to check what is in this variable, you see that value there. So that's what the input function does. Now I also said that the data collected by this input function, it automatically stores it as a string. We saw here where we use the example of how old are you. We came here and data type is a string. And I said this could be problematic in situations where we want to use our data to perform some kind of operation. And I give an example of multiplication. If I'm multiplying the number 21 by 2, multiplying the string 21 by 2, actually completely different things. So I now told us that we could specify the type of data we want to receive from the user. How? So as I mentioned before, the integer data type, there's a function. Let's call it a function. called int. In int, you put the input function, and then you write the prompt for the user, and then you run it. Then you put in the value. You come here and print the type of this variable. You will see that it's an integer. So this is how we can get data in specific form that we want. Yes, okay now. So I also said that we have said that we're expecting an int. What if someone writes a text? There will be an error. What? Will be specified that we only want integers. So that's what this does. It collects data in the form of integers because that's what we want. You can also do the same for floats. So we can write floats and input function. And no floats are decimal numbers. Now we find the type, and then boom, floats here written. Now, interesting thing, mind you, what happens if you put an 8 here? What if I just put an integer? Now, the good thing whenever you use a float is that as long as you put the number, even the number is not a float, if the number is an integer, it converts it to a float automatically. With int, it only accepts integers. If it's a float, there will be an error. There will be an error. If it's a text, there will be an error. But with floats, as long as it's a number, even if it's an integer, it's going to convert that integer into a float on its own. You could see how our 200 was converted to 200.0. So these are the different nuances and peculiarities with using inputs and specifying the data type you want essentially. So this is basically it with regards to collecting user inputs. Um, sorry, I don't really understand your question, Uchi. I don't get the interpreter Python from VS Code. Okay, on VS Code, let me put my VS Code and try to do something similar um, to demonstrate. So, Uchi, I don't really get your question. Could you please try to um, be more clear? So, in VS Code, if I run it, run Python. So in VS Code in terminal, what we've typed in our EP function will come out, the prompt, which is how tall are you? And then you simply writing, the value. And then you press enter and then boom, it's stored. It's as simple as that, yeah. That's pretty much it. And then it's stored. Only thing now is okay, print. Okay, yeah, that's you just yeah, your class is using VS Code. So just this is relevant, but then the point is anyway, your data has been stored. Your data has been stored. So if I were to comment this, say I comment this, sorry. So I think it's just kind of the point is I'm sure you saw why I did them. Yes, it's features. Yeah, so this issue. Still, yeah, this is why I prefer us to all use Jupyter because now my investment is actually I'm not quite sure what's going on. But I hope you understand the points. Yeah, you can just go for Python. Yeah, you can. You can just go for Python. It works. It works fine. Really. Yeah. So let me just someone also said something that I skipped. Right. So yeah, I'm going through this. Yeah, and actually, so to even help the user, you can even tell them in what form you want the data in. To help them. So they don't write something, give you something that will cause an error. So here, write a whole number. I mean, if someone sees, they will not go and give you nonsense. So write a whole number, present. Uh, what is that? Yeah, so that's another thing you can do, to be honest. Guide them so that they know what variable type to write when they are prompted. Because there's no way they can know actually. Is that what you're asking? Which I think that might have been what you're asking. So that's actually how to go about it. You could just tell them in what format to expect the information. So there are no errors caused, by all the inputs. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Okay, this is another interesting thing. So you can also convert from one data type to another. Yeah, so but there are limitations. So for example, if you want to convert, there's no way you can convert something like this to a number. It's not going to uh, like you can't convert this to a number. But if it was a number in quotation marks, yeah, you can convert this to something. But you can't convert like a text to an int, but you can convert a number written on a string to an integer or a float. You can do that. So this is how you can convert, you know, from one data type to another. Could also even convert a number to a string as well. And then you see the string written here. So that's another cool thing you can do, you know. Yeah. So let's look at these exercises. Let's see if this should be fun. Okay. All right, should be fun. So let's say we want to build a simple calculator output. So what we're going to do is that we want to add two numbers. We wanted to add two numbers. Okay. So it enter whole number. Yeah. Second number. So let's see. Okay, I think I should do this on different lines. Let me do this on different lines. Um, still what the same line, actually. So, um, because of how Jupiter works. Okay, yeah, this was a mistake by me. Sorry, you cannot start a variable name with a number. That was here. Yeah, so you can't start a variable name with a number. You can't do that. So yeah, that was what was causing the error. Forgive me, you know. So yeah, enter the first number, the second number, printing the products. Let me see. Yeah, I even forgot to change the variable name. So first number. Boom, and then we can see. So yeah, this is a simple thing we've done, right? But we collect numbers from a user and then we print out the product of the two numbers. So congratulations, you have built your sort of first yes, exactly. Yeah, as you said, I said Ahmed, yes. I corrected myself. You can't start a variable with a number, in the variable name with a number. Yeah. You have to start with a letter. So yeah, that's what's causing the error. Thank you. Yeah. So moving on. Oh yeah, no, I'm sure you guys also noticed this, what I did here. So when you want to print a text, a string, and a variable, there are two ways to go about it. And it's called a concatenation. So it's either you put the text in quotation marks, then put a comma after the quotation marks, and then you put the variable or operation you want to happen, and then you run it, or you could make use of what we call F strings. So make use of an F string. Let me just copy this. And curly brackets. We then write this. So these are two ways we can combine text and variables, and they both work. So these are two approaches guys to combine text and variables. I hope that's understood. Okay, yeah, so connotation in this context is essentially us displaying um two different they could actually be two, yeah. Is us combining a string and a variable, you know. So we don't string directly quotation marks. So if we were to just do this, we would have gotten an error. This doesn't work. To combine a string and a variable, there are the first ways. After writing the string in your print statement, put a comma, or use something called an F string. You put F before your string, you put F there quotation marks, then your text, then somewhere wherever it is in that quote, within those quotation marks, then put your variable in curly braces. So those are two ways of joining strings and numbers, or strings and variables. That's, oh, mind you, our variable could also be text. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, could also be text. A variable could also be text. It doesn't have to be a number. It could be text. Yeah. So If we didn't put this, there would have been an error. Yeah. So you can see that flow is use F strings as well. And so the variable we concatenate to our string, it could be number, it could be string, it could be, yeah, so that's it, really. That's how we concatenate. I hope that's clear. All right. So, yeah, I've shown you. So, so, guys, let's look at conditional statements. Okay, let me do a demonstration in Colab for being. All right, so where is my Colab? All right, you actually Colab alone. Colab, what happens? Let's see. So yeah, being in Colab, it gives you a place type underneath. So yeah, this is on Colab. It's similar to Jupyter Notebook actually. And yeah. So on Colab, it's quite straightforward as well. It's similar to what we doing or than what we did in Jupyter Notebook. It was only VS or we did the work the first time, the second time was a bit weird. Well, yeah, Colab is very similar to Jupyter, so yeah, that works. So then first, then we print and get our product. So yeah, being I think you should go over your code probably or something because as just saying on Colab when you type it, that will happen. Or let me try and see if I don't know if you type them in the same cell, there's something weird happens. Let's see if you want. So, even if you tell them in the same cell, it still asks you for both of them, but one after the other, you know. So, if you can go into more detail with what's error or whatever you're facing, that would be nice. But it's working now works on Jupyter notebooks. In Colab, there shouldn't be an issue. Okay. All right, no problem. Good, good. That's nice to hear. We found what's going on. Nice. All right, good, good, good. So I also go into conditional statements. I think I sort of touched upon that briefly before. Before. Yeah. So conditional statements. This essentially are used to. So let's say, for example, you're building. Let's say you're building. Okay, let's say I don't know, building some kind of automated door or something, and that door only opens for people of a particular height. You know, yeah. So how you what's actually going on in principle is you are checking that a particular condition is met and run executing a particular block of code after it has been met. Sometimes you actually, yeah, so yeah. One of such statements you can use for that to check if a condition has been met is our if statement. It enables us to check if a condition has been met. And if it has been met, it then executes a block of code. So let's say if height is greater than 1.9, it's- let's create a variable height. I can remember the function. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's try with now. Our height is 1.9. We said if height is greater than 1.9, print this. Since it's not greater than 1.9, nothing happens. Now, if it was if the block of code is executed, when it's not, nothing happens. Now, because this is a B word, when nothing happens, we have something called an else statement. So it's another statement we use to execute a block of code if our condition is not met. Yeah. So run. The height is 1.8, it doesn't meet this condition. So if it's bypassed, it goes right, yeah, it goes to the else and then it print this. So if statements are used when we want to execute a block of code when a condition is met. All else are used when we want to execute a block of code when a condition is not met. So we have if and else, those are really the two basic ones. But we also have the L if as well. So let's say we have this. So let's say we check a first condition and it's not met. Let's say we now want to check a second condition. We could then make use of an L if statement, and say yeah. So this is our L if statement. It's used when we want to execute a block of code when we want to execute a block of code. Okay, so okay, let me go back to it. So after checking our if statements and if the condition is not met, our if then checks if another condition is met. And if that condition is met, it executes the block of code underneath it. If the condition is not met, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So there's also after elif also put an else, I guess, in brains. Yeah, so boom. It checks the if statement. If condition is not met, L if it checks that one, condition is not met. But then we have our else, and then boom, we print this out. So these are conditional statements, our if statements, our L if, our else. You can check if something is greater than this symbol means greater than, this is greater than or equals to. And we also have less than, and we have less than or equals to as well. Just as how we have um greater than or equals to something like this. Our less than or equals to basically less than sign then equals to after it. Yeah. Now there's something I think you guys should show you guys about. Um, It's just like there are cool tricks essentially when it comes to performing operations on numbers. So well let's say we want to find the exponent of a number, it's double asterisk. Instead, yeah, so 2 raised to power 3 is still double asterisk 3. Yeah. I know that in traditional, in like traditional programming language, okay, that's something else. That's so ignore that. Back when we were doing computer in school, they used to use that caret symbol that's like upside down V, it represents exponent, like find the exponent of something. But here we just use double asterisks and then you find the exponents. Meaning that's raised power 3, 2 raised power 2, 4 raised power 2. You know, me, that's what else is there? Yeah. Another thing is there's a really neat way of let me just so let's say A is equals to C. So this is a cool way of like incrementing a number. So let's say we already like initialize our variable as something else and we want to increment it later on by 1. We write A plus equals to 1. Note it's not A is equals to plus 1. It's A is plus comes before the equals to sign. You can also do A is equals to plus 2 and 0 plus 2 is 2 or it's 10. Could do the same for minus as well. Um, so A equals to 5, B minus equals to great. I have 62. Yeah. So this is exponent. This is how to find the exponents. This is a cool way of incrementing a number. And this is a cool way of decreasing the number. Yeah. So that's some really cool. I think they're called unary operations or something. That's, yeah, exactly. They perform operations on a single instead of operations between two variables or two numbers, it's an operation on the same number. You know, here is incrementing it, and here is decreasing it. Yeah, it's I don't even all of yeah. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, those are all good essentially. Yep, yep, exactly. Those are the main ones. Yeah, the main ones. Those two are the main ones. All right. So, does anyone have any question about anything? Semester? Yeah. So, unknown go. I think it might be from your end. I think my screen will be visible might be from your end. Yeah. Those. Okay. How do we know is that's the stuff I'm not supposed to get the answers? Um. Yeah. Uchi, I'm trying to understand your question. Well, yeah, I'm honestly struggling. I don't really get your question, Uchi. I don't. Does anyone understand what he's saying? So I can address his question. Ochi, can you ask it in a different way, so I can try to. Yeah, so you're doing okay. Unary numbers, unary operations, George. Yeah, they are operations performed on a single variable or number. So here we have a variable and we want to increment it. So you want to increment it by 10, we use plus equals to 10, and then boom, we've added 10 to it. Or we want to decrease it of the value. Wow, minus equals to 13 and boom. B has reduced by 13. So that's pretty much it. Nothing so special. These are like two minutes. Yeah. shortcuts. So instead of like having to write A is equal, because this is something as A is equals to A plus 10. Okay, so let me, yeah. Yeah, this is basically a shortcut for this. That's really what this is. That's what just a neat shortcut, you know. Yeah. So, hey, sorry, I did. Yeah, what you say? Okay. X. Okay, nice. That's essentially what's going on here. You know, this is just a shortcut for this, and this is a shortcut for this. That's really what's going on. Let me even try something. So, okay, well, that's well, what's the other cool shorthand? Instead of having to write, let's say, oh, something else. Okay, let me be sure. Let me be sure. I'm not sure what B was before I started this. So that's it. Okay, and that's sure. This, okay, what? Well, yeah. This is another shorthand for um essentially. This is basically what this is really. Yes, they're just shorthands. Nothing really special, I guess. Yeah. So I did. Yeah. These are really just shorthands. This is shorthand for adding 10 to the variable's initial value. This is shorthand for subtracting 13 from the variable's initial value. This is shorthand for multiplying the variable's initial value by 2, which is what happens. And this is a shorthand for dividing the variable's initial value by 5. Yeah. So are they equal? That's pretty much. Oh, okay, okay. The single asterisk is just multiplication. It's multiplication. That's what it is really. It's and that's what single asterisk is. Yeah, but the double asterisk is yeah. So that's what it is. Is that I hope that explains it to you, which is okay. Say how do you know what code structure you want to achieve something? Well, I mean, yeah, learn the fundamentals, yeah. But then, yeah, I guess Googling, if you are Googling it really, or if, yeah, but if you know you want to see a particular tool or function, you could Google that function or Google that function and then read its documentation, and from there you can understand how to use it. So, for example, let's say you want to understand how to use the input function in Python. Maybe it's Google because it gives better response. But yeah, thank you for the kind words, Alimas. Thank you. Yes, input in Python. So you really just Google it if you want to know how to use input Python. And you can see here, this is a tutorial. Also, my preferred documentation, but let's go through this tutorial. And then you just go through it and just read it, you know, just go through it, set it, look at documentation. Yeah. Let's give me a function everything inputs. It's one of them. Yeah. And then you just read the documentation really bad. You know how to use it. So yeah, I guess learn the fundamentals and anything else that you do, just Google it really and hope for the best. You can also use ChatGPT also to get answers. But yeah, you try to Google, read the documentation, put Stack Overflow, use ChatGPT. So yeah. So are there any other questions? Are there any questions of any kind? Okay, someone said they want to see additional Python data. Okay, see, yeah, we're going to get there. We have the whole week, so we're going to get there. What was that question? What's the name? Yeah, Gideon, we're going to get there. You see how we use Python for plots to build our models, to train our models. We see all sorts of stuff during the week. We can't cover everything in a single day. That would be too much information. Yeah. Victor, when you're getting errors with what? Oh yeah, Gideon, yeah, Jupyter comes to Anaconda, yeah. Once you install Anaconda, you see Jupyter. So let me put my own Anaconda Navigator, open. Underscore so it takes some time to load. So that's Anaconda loading. Yeah, and then when it opens here, you see there are different stuff, data spell, spider, VS, that. Jupyter notebook, okay. You just click on launch, or once you install your Anaconda, you don't need to open your Anaconda, you just search Jupyter in your search bar, and then it comes up and just open it from there, and then boom, you get to use Jupyter notebook. So yeah, it comes with Anaconda alongside all that stuff, you know. Yeah. Yeah, pandas is a library that we used for manipulating data. We're going to get to that during the week. Jupyter Lab, Vivi. I've actually never used Jupyter Lab. I actually have never used it. You know, I've never used Jupyter Lab. Let me even see what it looks like. I've actually never used it before. Um, it seems that we open the just I doubt it's nah. There's no. There's no. Well, yeah. So best, I'd advise you to install Anaconda to access Jupyter. That's all I'd advise you to do. Yeah. So now let me open Jupyter Lab and see what's going. Yeah, exactly, Olivia. Well, I think pandas usually comes no, and yeah, some usually comes with your Python usually. It's usually already there. There's some libraries that you have to install, but pandas usually comes. But if it doesn't, yeah, we use to install pandas. But normally it comes with Python when you install it. So as for you, let me open Jupyter about. Never used it before. Let me see what it looks like. An extensible for web based. Wow, this is cool. I have never used this before. I like the UI of Jupyter Lab. Let's see. I create any file. Notebook. Chip. Wow. Well, it seems similar to Jupyter Notebook, but just a different interface. That's what it looks like, really. Um, Let me just try something random. Yeah, it seems like Jupyter Notebook, but just with a different user interface. Let me quickly just read it. If there's any other demonstrable difference, really, because I've never seen it before. Let's see. You see here, we can create custom extensions or API functionalities and all that stuff. So, right. Yeah, so I guess no, I said Jupyter comes on account. I didn't say Jupyter, you can go Jupyter in VS Code. Although you can open the files in VS Code. Yeah, Jupyter is Anaconda. Yeah, so yeah. The slides probably be made available to you by my colleagues. So I guess if there's no other question, which Makin Solar Ibrahim, download Anaconda. And in Anaconda, you have Jupyter. That's what you should download. So let me just, I think so. It's someone sent link earlier actually. It's done on Anaconda, but if you just go Anaconda download that. Yeah, you just click on it and yeah, it's free downloading and you read it. So yeah, in the absence of any other question, that will be the end of the class. So thank you guys for making it interactive. I enjoyed your questions and your participation. Yeah, was really nice. So yeah, thank you guys and have a nice day.
Great delivery, great delivery, great delivery. Thank you so much, Ewezu, for taking us through this today. Please confirm you can hear me in the chat room. And let's appreciate Mr. Ewezu. This has been a fantastic, it has been a so much, Mr. Ewezu. Thanks so much, Gideon. You can hear me. Yes, so the class continues tomorrow. As you all know, the program runs for 5 days, and this is not the end. The conversation continues on our Telegram group, and you will agree with me that it's been a lot, and this we've taken a lot in a very short time. So the recording will be available once we end this session. The recording will be available on our DSN YouTube channel. My colleague Chidima has been helping a lot to drop all important links. So if there was a part you missed during the class, you can always fall back on the recorded session, which is going to be available on our DSN YouTube channel immediately after we end this session. Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, so like I said, the conversation continues on our Telegram group. And make sure you practice what you've learned today, because that is the only way to actually seal your learning. Yes, it's not just to come to the class and listen to the facilitator. You need to practice. You need to practice. And there are also resources on YouTube, on Google, that you can actually learn Python, because today we've covered a lot. We talked about variables, talked about mathematical operators, talked about conditional statement. There's a need for you to actually um, go back at your convenience and understand all these concepts again. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll meet again tomorrow, same time. And you can always invite your friends to also join the session and share the learners registration link with them to also benefit from this program. Thank you so much, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.